Hi everybody, my name's Farmer Luke and today I'm here to talk to you about potatoes. So hopefully by the end of this video you all will be qualified potato planters. Now, I'm standing or sitting in one of my fields. This particular field is becoming potatoes. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is a very scaled down version of my field, which is here, all nicely marked out. Now, this is 1 metre by 1 metre, which is known as a metre square. You all with me? Cool. Now, the first thing a farmer does is a little bit similar to what you'll do later when you plant your potatoes in your pot, or you have done, is we need to get the soil ready. Now, your soil's all nicely prepared in the pot, but we need to get ours ready. And we use something called a plough. Now, what a plough does is it turns over the soil, so all the previous crop that's on top here gets turned over and buried, so the potato crop has got a nice fresh start. The next stage the farmer does to get the land ready is it uses something called a ridger. Now, what the ridger does is it pushes the soil up into ridges for the next piece of equipment to come through, which is called a destoner. Now, what a destoner does is work similar to a sieve. It picks up the soil, shakes it, so it's all nice and fluffy for the potatoes to grow in, so there's none of these stones. And if there is any stones or bits of clods, it chucks it out the side and they're never to be seen again. Now, in this metre square, we are going to plant some seed, same as what the farmer does. I've got some seed potatoes here, and you can see that the chits have just started forming. Now, they're important because that is where the potato is going to pick up its food and nutrients for a start to get it going. Now, how many potatoes do you think I'm going to plant in this metre square? Should we count? 1, 2, 3. Oh, 3 potatoes. That's all I'm going to plant in this metre square. Later we'll find out why I only plant 3, but for a minute we're going to stick here. So the potato won't grow like this. Potato likes to grow underground, so it's nice and warm. So what we need to do is cover it over, which is again similar to what you're going to do in your pot. Now, a farmer can't plant the potatoes like this. It's okay in this metre square, but for all this field, that's going to take a very long while. And he uses, or we use, something called a potato planter. Now, what the potato planter does is exactly the same as what I just done. It's got a big hopper on it that keeps the potatoes in it and puts them in the ground, spaced out nicely, and it comes behind it with a set of what we call ridges again, that pushes soil over the potato so it's nicely buried in the soil. Now, it is going to take up to 100 days for the potato to go from seed to your plate. Now, in that 100 days, there's 3 things it's going to need. Do you know what they are? Shall I tell you? The first thing the potato needs to grow is food. Now, the potato doesn't go to Tesco's or gets its food cooked for it. It gets it from this stuff, the soil. Now, you see this soil that I've got here, this is all nice and black and full of nutrients the potato needs to grow. But soil differs from different parts of the country. So here where I am in the fen, this is called nice black fenland soil, black fen soil. Whereas if you go further north, it gets a little bit sandier and stonier. So the potato really likes black soil to grow in. That's why there's a lot growing in this area. Now, in that 100 days of growing, it's going to need something else, which is water. Now, I could get my little watering can. I can in this metre square, and you can with your pot, and just put some water on it with a watering can. And when you do that, you want to water it every 3 to 4 days, but only just put enough water on it so when you pick it up with your finger, it just sticks to it. Don't overwater your potato plant, it doesn't like it. It likes a little and often. It's a Farmer Luke top tip there when you're growing your potatoes. So, we've seen how big my field is, so I can't use the watering can. So I rely on the sky. Now, in the 100 days, this metre square will need up to 400 litres of water. And that 400 litres is equivalent of about 40 of these buckets over its lifetime. But that's all not at once. That's over the 100 days. Now, the last thing it needs to grow is sunlight. Now, remembered we only planted 3 potatoes in this metre square. Well, that's because when the potato grows, the leaves come through the soil and tries to reach the sunlight. It tries to catch its rays. If we put more than 3 potatoes in this metre square, then they all wouldn't have enough share of the sun. That's why we space them out, so they can catch the sunlight. Now, it's going to take up to 1700 hours of sunlight for the potato to grow over the 100 days. That's a lot of sun. So, 100 days are up. It's now harvest day. Now, when you harvest your potatoes, you're just going to turn the pot upside down and pick your potatoes out. And that's what we can do in this metre square, but I have a massive field. So the farmer uses something called a potato harvester. Farmers are not really imaginative when it comes to naming equipment, but never mind. Right, now what the potato harvester does is, for a start, it gets rid of the tops that are grown, because we don't need them anymore, and it digs the potatoes out the ground, because the potato grows underground. So it comes in, lifts the soil up, and finds the potatoes. Now, out of those 3 potatoes we planted 100 days ago, how many potatoes do you think I'm expected to get? Should we have a look? $45 potatoes. That's what I expect to get out of those 3 potatoes that I planted. Now, to put that into real terms, that's equivalent of about 12 portions of chips. Or, to put it in even more real terms, does everyone like these crisps? Out of those 3 potatoes we planted to grow 45 potatoes, these will produce up to 180 bags of crisps. That is a lot of crisps. Now, this field and my metre square will not grow potatoes again for another 5 years. This is because if we grow potatoes year after year, there'll be loads of disease and pests that want to eat the potatoes, which will not produce what I want. So we have to rotate it. So this field, after it had its potato crop on, will possibly become wheat. Then after that, barley, then probably another wheat. There'll probably be a sugar beet crop in between it. Though we need to keep 5 years apart. So, I think that is the potato course over with, and I think you're all now qualified farmers. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you all later. Congratulations on your qualification.